Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
This is my top 5 Batman movies. This past week, I rewatched all of the Batman movies, except for some of them that I really knew I wasn't going to, that I really already knew I didn't like. But rewatched a lot of the Batman movies. Obviously, the new release of The Batman has hit video on demand and HBO Max and all the streaming services, whatever. So I finally got to watch that as well. So I figured I would do my top 5, take this opportunity to rewatch all of the key Batman movies, to rank them, properly rank the Batman movies, and give them the respect that they deserve on The Ray Taylor Show presents Top 5. So let's start it off, shall we? It was an interesting rewatch of a lot of these movies because, in general, I have a lot of problems with Batman movies. With almost all of the movies I have issues with. So this is almost a movie of the Batman movies that have the least issues, the top 5 of those. So starting off with number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises from 2012, directed by Christopher Nolan. We have, of course, the Christian Bale Batman, which on the rewatch of this trilogy, Dark Knight Rises, it's the one with Bane. There's a lot of issues with it, man. One, I don't like the mask. First off, the mask, the Batman mask that Christian Bale's wearing is annoying. I don't know why. It's just the shape of it. It looks too round. There's something about it that bothers me. That I never really noticed. Although I do love the groundedness of Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. Bane, there's possibly one of the Christopher Nolan movies isn't going to make the list, so maybe I can't make comparisons directly to other aspects of other movies, but I enjoyed Bane in this movie. I thought he was a fun bad guy, fun villain. Catwoman was kind of unimpressive. I think the Catwoman in both the Batman Returns and The Batman are both better versions of Catwoman than Anne Hathaway's Catwoman in this. The whole part of the movie where Batman or whatever his name is, what is his name? This is bad. Bruce Wayne. When he's in that prison, Bane's like that pit prison, and he's like got a broken back, and they just like string him up by his arms and then like punch a disc back into place, and he can just heals his back. I don't know. That whole thing was I did not like. The whole Bane thing, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed some of the action moments. I enjoyed the whole tech that listens in on anything was kind of interesting. The movie itself is a bit long, but I did enjoy it. I mean, it does have that specific style that Christopher Nolan brought to the Batman franchise, and I think is this compared to The Batman, or the two most grounded Batmans, I would say, or the trilogy that Nolan did. And I think there's aspects to both that I appreciate more. They're definitely two different grounded takes on it. And I think Christopher Nolan did probably a more authentic, realistic version of what a billionaire who is the Batman, what that would be like versus The Batman, which may or may not be on the list. We'll just have to see. And a little caveat, I would say that there's no... I didn't watch any of the 2D animated. Let's put it that way. And maybe I shouldn't have said that at all. But anyway, coming in at number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises. It's got its problems. The football, when everything kind of collapses away, isn't that great, but I do like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as like the Robin, how that sets up for a Robin character. I enjoyed. I don't know. There's aspects of this movie that I did enjoy, but ultimately the problems that it has with the whole thing, with the back injury thing, and just the football stadium collapsing thing. There's some aspects to it, and Hathaway's not that great. There are some aspects to it that are just not that great. But then there's also aspects like I think it's the best hand-to-hand fight scenes that are in any of the Christopher Nolan movies, possibly all of them. But anyway, so that's why I put The Dark Knight Rises at number 5. Moving on to number 4. My number 4 favorite Batman, and I kind of spoiled it just now. I should have just waited. But my number 4 favorite Batman, it is an animated Batman, but it's not the Batmans that you would expect, the amazingly beautiful anime 2D animated Batmans. I loved the Batman cartoon growing up. Never revisited it since, so I don't know how good it is, and just never gotten into the Batman animated stuff, all the animated movies, even though I know they're good, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll go through and watch those and rank those completely separately. But I felt like this animated feature should be on this list, and it's a lot of fun, and that movie is the Lego Batman movie. I love this movie. It's also the Lego movies. It's amazing that a toy franchise in Legos can have amazing movies. It's kind of a crazy thing. But the Lego Batman movie is hilarious. It's almost like those movies, those parody movies that would make fun of all the popular movies of the time. That's kind of what the Batman Lego movie, or the Lego Batman movie is. It is like a parody movie for all Batman movies. It is a rom-com between Batman and the Joker, with all of the amazing kind of character that comes with it being set in the Lego universe. Voiced by probably the best voice for Batman in Will Arnett. I think by far does the best Batman voice. And a really fun movie, especially, I mean, for a Batman movie. This could almost be number one, but I couldn't do that. But it had to be on the top 5 list for sure. Great in every way, all of the references. Also, the fact that it talks shit about the DC universe. It's great. It's like one of the best parody movies that's ever come out, I would say, the Lego Batman movie. So that's why that is sitting at number 4, a really fun Batman movie, and it's a Batman movie too, you know. It's great.
And now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear The Many Faces, original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high-quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now, back to our show.
Moving on to my number 3 favorite Batman movie. This is a movie by a director that I don't really like. He's kind of played out, in my opinion. It's a movie that kind of necessarily doesn't hold up. It's from a bunch of movies that came out that don't really hold up, at least in my opinion. At least, especially compared to how comic book movies are made today. But coming in at number 3 for me, my third favorite Batman film is Batman Returns, directed by Tim Burton, who is a guy, is a guy who has an aesthetic to his filmmaking that is, it's exhausting. It's not an aesthetic that I always really loved, that kind of, Nightmare Before Christmas kind of aesthetic, even though he technically didn't direct that one, but it's based on his aesthetic. Same thing with, Beetlejuice is very much a Tim Burton look to a film. My favorite is Big Fish of the Tim Burton films, but bringing it back to Batman, for me, it was between Batman and Batman Returns, the Batman from 1989. And spoilers, kind of, that one didn't make it. Right, we're at the top 3 Batman movies, and I'm sorry, the first Michael Keaton Batman is nowhere near as good as this one. You have the best Penguin in this one. You have one of the best, if arguably the best, Catwoman in Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito playing the Penguin. I mean, the best casting by far. Michael Keaton played a great Batman as well. You have Christopher Walken playing kind of the big business bad guy. Christopher Walken's great in everything anyway. You have a great Wilfred or Alfred and Michael Gough. You have, let's see, who else is in this? Anybody else? No. That's standing out? No. But great casting. It's probably the best use of the Tim Burton kind of a style. Super dark, kind of Christmassy vibes, but also has that cheesy element that a lot of Batmans have. But I think done in the best way. I mean, I think the Penguin is one of the best Batman characters that the fact that it's got the Penguin and Catwoman, two of the best to ever do it. It's great. It's great. The whole thing, I enjoyed it. It has like that Batman feel. I mean, they're all dark, but it was like the Tim Burton Batmans really kind of set the tone for a lot of the Batmans that came out in the 90s, which progressively got worse and worse and then became a parody of itself towards the end. But I think this was kind of that best thing. I think the added darkness and then the added characters, because the first one, I didn't really like the Joker. The Joker in the Batman 1989, Jack Nicholson, probably one of the worst Jokers in all of the movies. And there's some bad ones. But yeah, so coming in at number 3, my third favorite Batman movie is Batman Returns. Moving on to my second favorite Batman film. This could have been number 1, but it's, again, still some problems, right? Like in Batman Returns, the problems are that cheesy element, and it's like, it's kind of still when comic book movies weren't really treated seriously. It's filmed like almost like a musical in a lot of ways, has that feel, that vibe. That Joel Schumacher kind of a feel to it, which was very 90s, which I don't think that style necessarily holds up. So that's kind of one of the reasons why, even though it's one of the better movies. But this one coming in at number 2, one that could have been at my number 1, have a few problems with it. I reviewed it earlier this week. It is the newest, The Batman. With Robert Pattinson as the Batman. You have Matt Reeves as director. This one has also the Catwoman, played by Zoe Kravitz. It has the Penguin, played by, what's-his-face? Colin Farrell in a fat suit. You have John Turturro as Carmine Falcone. I think the casting of this one from top to bottom is almost the best. I don't think Andy Serkis is the greatest Alfred. Paul Dano as the Riddler I thought was great. I liked this movie, how it had the take on grounded, realistic, differently than the Nolan films. Like, it's definitely a different vibe. This one's definitely the most noir feel. It has the most kind of, pulp kind of noir type of aesthetic to it. It has the vibe of Seven and Zodiac, even though I don't think it reaches the levels of those movies. I think those movies are both exponentially better movies than this movie is. But in the universe of Batman movies, I appreciated what this movie was trying to do. Robert Pattinson's doing a little bit too much of an emo. It feels more like Requiem for a Dream meets Batman, but I thought he played a good Batman, had a good Bat voice. Have no idea why Lieutenant or Commissioner Gordon is doing a Batman voice the whole time as well. That's another part that kind of knocks it down a little bit. But Turturro is amazing in everything he does. They should have just cast a fat guy to play the Penguin. I mean, there's a lot of fat guys who are great actors, so I think like John Goodman would have been amazing, or plenty of others out there in the world, instead of having to get an attractive person and put a fat suit on him. Despite how good his performance was, it's just one of those things where they're patting themselves on the back for doing something they went out of their way not to do, But it's part of Hollywood that's still like, let's do. I mean, I guess it is make believe. It's just weird that you wouldn't just cast somebody like for a movie that's trying to be authentic and grounded, to go out of your way to not just cast somebody who is authentically overweight, but it is kind of baffling to me. But it'd be like if they made Jeffrey Wright put on whiteface. They're patting themselves on the back how you couldn't tell that he was black. It's like Watermelon Man meets Batman. But yeah, it is, even though it feels like it's doing an impression of those better movies, like it's doing an impression of Seven, it's doing an impression of Zodiac, and it's not really authentically its own thing. It's kind of hovering between trying to be super grounded, but then also be a superhero movie. It doesn't, like, it felt a little uneven. Super long, too. A lot of these Batman movies are super long. But this one, 3 hours, is tough. It's tough, despite the fact that I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. That's why it's coming in at number 2. It's a lot of fun. The fact that Gotham is below sea level is kind of, I don't know, man. That didn't make much sense. I mean, it makes sense why, I guess, but it doesn't make sense why there would be a big city built, like a giant metropolis type city built below sea level. Yeah, it just, I mean, we've seen what happens in the U.S. to places like that in general, let alone trying to put like a Chicago below sea level. But anyway, I did enjoy The Batman. It's my second favorite. It was a lot of fun. I wish also the fight scenes were lit better. Everything is dark, but it is very beautiful at the same time. It's just got like a lot of little things that I had a problem with. C4 doesn't really do anything. Just knocks you out for a little bit. But anyway, number 2, it is Batman. That's the thing with the Batman movie. They're all, because they come from such wacky beginnings, I think that's part of most of these movies' inability to shake that off, or trying to pay homage to that while also trying to be some kind of grounded thing. But anyway, number 2 is The Batman. Moving on to my number 1.
Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. My favorite Batman movie of all time, that movie coming in at number 1 is The Dark Knight. It is
The movie, I feel, has zero issues with it. I don't see. I from top to bottom, I loved it. It was so much fun. Obviously, you have epic performance from Heath Ledger doing the Joker. One of the best Jokers, I think. His Joker and what's his face with the from the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger do the best Jokers, I would say. And not only the Joker, I mean, it's a great villain. It's a great story. The way it ends, Two-Face is great. How Batman kind of loses in the end. Things like he's really tested. It's got a little bit better color palette than the first one as well. It's got epic action scenes. It's just so much fun. I mean, from that opening bank heist scene to the truck flipping to just the hospital blowing up to like trying to race to save either the guy who becomes Two-Face or like all of the Batman fans are hating me right now because I'm blanking. When he's racing to try and either save Harvey Dent or Rachel, he winds up saving, going to the wrong place. It's got a lot of ups and downs. Great story. As far as the Nolan movies, the first Nolan movie did not make the list because I just didn't like the Ra's al Ghul villain. Like having a white guy be some martial arts like master guy. I'm tired of that casting being whitewashed. Like same thing happened in the that Marvel movie where I forget the actress's name, but that I don't buy at all. I'm tired of the white guy as martial arts master type of thing. So that's why that one didn't even make the list. Bane is pretty good. I like the Bane one, despite the fact that the whole back injury was kind of cheesy. But this one was the best. I think it's Christopher Nolan settling into Batman. I think it's Christian Bale as well doing the same thing. I think Christian Bale is probably the best Batman from top to bottom, from like playing Bruce Wayne as well as Batman. I don't necessarily like his voice as Batman. I think that could have been done a little bit differently. And then the mask that they gave him was a bummer. But it is my number one. I think it's the best like movie out of all of the Batmans. Like from an artistic, like it makes sense that people wanted to nominate that for Academy Award. Because I think as a film, it is great story, great acting, great cinematography, great direction, just a like an unconventional ending. Every aspect of it is the best, and had the least problems out of the Nolan films, I'd say, and out of all of them. Like The Batman could have been number one, but there's aspects of it that I didn't really like. So let me go over my top five. Let me talk about the some of the ones that didn't make it. Zack Snyder, I do not like. I think he's a bad director. Batman vs. Superman is garbage. It's a garbage film. Justice League, I am not going to sit through 4 hours of bad storytelling and slow motion. I also don't think Ben Affleck is a good character, so there's multiple reasons why no Zack Snyder movies are on this list. Maybe one day I'll go through and like rank Zack Snyder films, but overall, it blows my mind that this guy gets so much work. Style over substance, 100%. Batman Begins. The first Nolan film, I talked about that. Not quite as good. Batman 98, I talked about that. Batman Returns is an upgrade for that. Batman 66, I've never watched that, and it wasn't available. And from what I've seen of that one, it's very cheesy. And out of like the cheesy comedy versions of Batman, the Lego Batman movie is hands down the one I would have gone with anyway if I was going to have that type of Batman be represented on the list. So those are the ones that didn't make the list, and that's why they didn't make the list. But one more time, this is my top 5 Batman movies. Starting off with number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises. Number 4 is the Lego Batman movie. Number 3 is Batman Returns. Number 2 is The Batman. And my number 1 favorite Batman movie is The Dark Knight. Let me know what your favorite Batman movies are, how you would rank them. Let me know which ones I should reconsider in the comments. Hit me up on social media. Let me know what I missed, where I went wrong, and how you disagree with me, or maybe how you agree with me. That's always nice. Positive reinforcement. Either way, have a great week.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.